Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of the UniversiD&D, which long name, the University of Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Brandon Ross, and this is a fun project. I've had the joyous liberties to work alongside Mr. Knighted Bishop. Hello, Knighted Bishop.
What's up, sir?
Oh, not a whole lot. I hope you've had a good bit of time off since the amazing Friday night game we have, where you sit in the DM seat.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a little bit of time. I had to think about that game, and there's some stuff coming up for it. That'll be interesting. I'm glad we were able to introduce Oswald, so that'll be fun.
Good. It's been a fun thing. If you have not caught it yet, you can catch up on it on our YouTube channel, which is just go into YouTube, punch in Player Hater Gaming. You will find our channel. You can find all of our previous episodes hosted there, along with the not just Reldon, but our Wednesday night campaign as well, the wild cards. I know for me personally, getting to sit in the player's seat on a table is beyond exciting. And speaking of sitting at a player's chair there, Mr. Bishop, what's going on the agenda tonight for tonight's class? I believe we started the project and we had to do the taboo of stopping a project halfway through. But again, we didn't want to maybe overwhelm everybody. So you could just give me a reminder. I'm getting old now and I just can't quite remember everything. So,
well, we're going to go over a couple of things. We're going to finish up the character sheet. So we're going to go over your personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws, and options that you have there for filling that in.
All right.
As a possible role-playing mechanic. We're also going to go over the basics of spells. So that way, if you are a caster, you get some information on that as well.
Mm-hmm. That sounds great. Well, I am just going to do a quick plug-in to where if you should have any questions about anything D&D related or even tabletop related or even not, you just want to come hang out, please feel free to join our Discord. We will have the link dropped in the chat here momentarily, or if you're catching this on the YouTubes, as the kids say, I believe is what's called, you can find us. We have a fun, unique link. Just type in discord.com/playerhatergaming and you will find us. With that spoken, let's just push right into it. Do a quick recap here. So I myself, that you see on screen here, I am making a champion fighter because I am basic and I am okay. I embrace it and it's fine by me.
There's nothing basic about champion fighters. They're great.
They're so much fun. I believe Knighted Bishop was making a wizard.
Yep, I have a human wizard.
All right, then.
Which I think I made a more generic name than you did.
My name is Drake Drakemore. How could you make more of a generic name?
I am Winston Willowbrook.
Oh no, it sounds kind of fancy.
I'm a wizard, Harry.
Personal preference is armored artificer. Nice, solid. So for a real quick recap, we have gone over kind of where you put your stats. Let me get this a little better on screen there. There we go. Where you put your stats. For my character, I spec a lot of things into the con because I wanted a lot of health. Then next down, I had my strength. And I just kind of went down from there to put in my fun stats there. Hey, thank you for the follow, Canadian Viking Phoenix. Are you a Canadian, a Viking, and a Phoenix? Or is it just, I mean, how's...
I think I felt that one time.
You felt a Canadian Viking Phoenix?
Yeah.
With the stats accumulated as I saw fit, I spec'd into very certain skills. I make sure they're on screen. There we go.
Can we have a conversation real quick, though?
Oh, no. I like conversations with you. They get horrible.
I want to say, I have a 16 constitution.
I have a 17. Okay. Where'd you put yours? Intelligence? Or was that your
control? Yeah. My intelligence is an 18.
Okay.
But that's not what I want to have the conversation about.
Oh, no. What?
What I want to have a conversation about is the fact that you have a 31 HP.
Oh, yeah. Great. You were there when I rolled these.
Was there?
Yeah.
You also have an 18 armor class.
Well, yeah. I took chainmail and a shield.
I have an 11 armor class with 15 health points.
Because you're a wizard. You're supposed to be the squish. That's your role.
I am 1 point under you in Constitution, and I have less than half your health.
Oh, that's great. This is going to be a fun class. We should use these in like something. We'll figure it out. It'll be fun.
Oh, they'll get used.
I'm sure they will. Absolutely. So we've gone over the mechanics and the things that'll be used that pertain to dice. What we're going to go through is some of the things that won't always necessarily roll into a dice roll check. They can definitely be used to inspire dice roll checks and even assist you with certain things. But a lot of the things we're going to go over today are what I call the intangibles. There are things that aren't assigned to a dice value or a stat value for the most part. And I'm going to kick it off with personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws.
For sure.
So, a personality trait. Bishop, what to you, without using the text from the book that we are going to have, what is a personality trait?
So personally, a personality trait to me.
Up off stream. Go ahead.
Are we back?
Yeah, I was no.
All
Say
right.
I'm going to pull it up off stream.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying we're off stream.
No. I'm going to. We're good.
We're doing it live, people. We're doing it live.
We are doing it live. I don't know why you're yelling.
Cause that's the only way you can say we're doing it live. We're doing it live. Yeah, you gotta just yell it. All right. So a personality trait to me is a quirk or a feature or a basic understanding of a part of who you are. So one of my personality traits is that Bishop is very full of himself and even likes to talk about himself in the third person. That is just one of my personality traits. Okay. Some would say it's a flaw. I personally like to think it's a personality trait. The beater of defense +3. Hell yeah. You guys should make that happen so that way certain characters can just wear beaters in game. That would be great.
Doubt.
Can't doubt the fans, man. But no, a personality trait is something that helps inform your character as to what they hold as a basic understanding of who they are. So, like for my wizard, I'll use an example that's from the book.
Go ahead.
One of the personality traits that he has is that he's horribly, horribly awkward in social situations. So that's just a trait of his that it doesn't change anything in the game. Generally, it won't. But it gives the DM an option for either roleplay or even, hey, you know what? You're in combat. This is a social situation. Maybe some of the things you're going to have to roll are going to have to be at disadvantage because you are now extremely awkward. You're going to fumble over your words when you're casting a spell. And so, hey, you know what? Your concentration, instead of making it a base 10, if the spell hits for less, then you know what? You got to roll a base 15 because you're not confident enough to hold your concentration.
Yep. So I'm going to go over some of the personality traits from the book itself, and we're going to pick 2 of them. That is usually, you can pick as few or as many as you like, and they don't have to be word for word what's in the book, but I'm just going to use it as an example to give yourself a way to understand and maybe even inspire yourself about how your character plays and who they are as a person. That's where we're really getting into that phrase, tabletop role-playing game. So let me look over these real quick.
And while you're looking over them, I'll read the ones that are available for the wizard here.
Go ahead.
And what I'll do is I'm going to roll for mine. One of the fun things that you can do is if you have the book or if you're using a website is generally they use a roll table, which allows you to have...
let me grab my D8 here. Okay. Yeah, I'll do the same thing.
Okay. They usually have a roll table, and so you can roll and make your determination. And this is kind of fun if you're not exactly sure what you want your character to be.
That's pretty good.
So for all of the possible personality traits I use polysyllabic words that convey the impression of great erudition. I can say these words, people. I've read every book in the world's greatest libraries, or I like to boast that I have. I'm used to helping out people, helping out those who aren't as smart as I am, and I patiently explain anything and everything to others. There's nothing I like more than a good mystery. I'm willing to listen to every side of an argument before I make my own judgment. I speak slowly when talking to idiots, which almost everyone is compared to me.
Oh my gosh.
That's how it's written out. There's literally dots in between.
Oh my gosh. So I'm going to take one of them. Oh, you just you thought I was 8 to go through. My bad.
No, you're good.
Like go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well,
to finish it up,
so go ahead.
We already talked about the horribly, horribly awkward, and then I'm convinced that people are always trying to steal my secrets. So I took the horribly awkward social situations because I do like that one for this wizard. So I'm going to roll for my last one.
All right, then I'm just going to take one for my guy here because I like the way this looks, and I don't like really... Actually, you know what? We'll roll more. The first one I got was, I always want to know how things work and what makes people tick. So that's what's going to begin to carve out my character's social interactions and how he talks to people or how he analyzes people, which actually kind of works in with one of the skills I picked, perception. So let's see what my second one is.
I am doubly, horribly, horribly awkward in social situations, according to the dice roller.
Ooh, I feel like this dice is trying to speak to me personally.
Oh, yes.
This is awful.
Yes. I have the best.
I got one that it makes me reevaluate if the dice is trying to talk to me directly, like a Ouija board or something.
And they're talking to me too, because I got the horribly awkward social situations and the I speak slowly when talking to idiots.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Copy this one over,
character.
and then I will read it to everybody once I'm done, because it's a lot.
There we go. I hope you guys are all having a good night tonight. I'm checking out the chat here. It's how your character interacts with the world. Well, that's how I take it. Yeah, that's a good way of understanding it and a good way of presenting it as well. It's how your character would be seen or would be known. So, I mean, and you don't have to go by what's in the books. Don't ever believe that for these thoughts you have to go by what's in the books. You can always write yours out. Mm-hmm. Speak with your DM first with everything. Always make sure that you have a conversation with your DM.
Because it could definitely help a DM mold the world to be more alive.
Correct. It will always help. Actually, we had a situation earlier in the Discord where a very common situation happened where somebody was building a character and they did not follow our instructions, which is always ask your DM how you are doing your ability points. And so they didn't know how to fill in their sheet for their ability scores because they didn't ask what method they were using. So it was just a good learning moment, was just, hey, you know what? And always make sure you remember. And they'll never make that mistake again for the most part. They may do it once down the road, but they will always know. So
what I rolled was an interesting trait. I'm rude to people who lack my commitment to hard work and fair play.
Oh, we're going to be friends.
We're going to be such good friends.
We are the best of friends.
Big oof.
Big oofs.
Alrighty then. So personality traits. Or excuse me. That is personality traits. They are ways that define how your character acts in most aspects of their life. They are just short little blurbs to quickly summarize what makes your character them, and what makes them come to life, essentially. Next, we have ideals, and those are things that's your unbreakables or your hard commitments. These are things that will be difficult for the character to go against. This will be the way that they were raised, very hardly ingrained in what they believe. So I'm just going to roll for one of these real quick. Actually, some of them do have a bit of alignment with them. I wanted this character either be neutral or good, so I'm going to go with let's go with the Ooh, that's a good one there. I'm going to take this one here. I'm going to go with community. It is the duty of all civilized people to strengthen the bonds of community and the security of civilization. I'm going to take that one. And that's for the lawful alignment.
Oh, there we go. That's not bad. I was hoping for something else, but I'll take it.
What'd you get?
So I always like to roll for the ideals, and I even include things that on here would be considered evil, especially if I'm using an already set up table. Just because I like to think that even if I were to take something that would be considered by the ideals page evil, my character could make that something of their own. But I got self-improvement. The goal of a life of study is the betterment of oneself, and that's any. So it was a pretty neutral.
That's pretty good. So moving on to bonds. These are not quite as concrete or solid as your ideals, but they are definitely a driving force behind your character's motivation, behind their motives. What is the ideals and bonds together essentially answer the question, what makes your character tick, for the most part. So let's go with Ooh, these are, you know what? These are pretty rough. So we're gonna roll for it. Ooh, oh wait, this is
there you go.
D6. My bad.
I've got my bond, so it's not a bad one.
Ooh.
This dude definitely drinks pumpkin spice lattes in fall.
This is gonna be interesting how this is gonna work. All right. So what I got was number 4, which is I pursue wealth to secure someone's love.
Ooh,
that's
there you go.
That's gonna be interesting with the other ones, with the ideals and the traits.
I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with
no broke adventures.
Nope. I used to be an adventurer like you until I took a. All right, nice. So you got your bonds. Now we get to go on to one of my favorite ones.
The flaws.
Yeah. All right. And this is something that this is Bishop on a soapbox for a moment.
Oh no.
I truly believe, and I want in my heart of hearts, that if anybody knows anybody at Wizards of the Coast, or if Wizards of the Coast just so happens to hear this, please make flaws a mandatory part of your character sheet that takes points and allows the addition of points. I truly believe that flaws make the character.
Very true.
So there are, and I don't like to talk about other systems when I'm talking about D&D all the time, but there are other systems that do implement flaws as a mandatory thing. You have to take flaws in order to build your character, and it really does make a more well-rounded character, and it gives you something to play off of. It gives your DM a little bit more to work with. So I love flaws. I think they're some of the best things about role-playing. But that's my soapbox. I'm sorry.
No, it's a great soapbox. I have a Monday night character that I do try my best to align myself with those things. It was my first attempt to actually fill out the character sheet, top, bottom, left, right, and not just haphazardly fill one out, because I've always been a DM for the most part. I was like, yeah, make character sheet. Okay, I'm done. But it was sticking to the personality traits and flaws of the Monday night character has made a lot of things hard, but also interesting and rewarding in the long run. It's been a great up and down ride, and I'm not looking forward to next Monday. It is the culmination of like a 2.5-3 year campaign, and next Monday is the last session. We walk into the lair of the big bad evil guy Monday.
Depending on what level of stubborn boomer you take, depends on how many points you get for it.
All right, so I've been sitting here. This is gonna be hilarious. So here's what I got for my flaw, Bishop and chat.
All right, go ahead.
I'm horribly jealous of anyone who can outshine my handiwork. Everywhere I go, I'm surrounded by rivals. And we are locked in.
All right, so I see what I rolled. I'm not going to go with that though, because I'm one to break the rules. So I'm just going to take this flaw because I want this character to have this flaw.
What do you got? Go ahead.
So my flaw is I speak without really thinking through my words, invariably insulting others. All he wants to do. Tam would get the maximum amount of boomer points, so that would be 12.
The maximum amount, yes.
Yeah. You get 12 boomer points.
Well, there's your traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. And again, these are, like I said, the intangibles. These are things you can use to kind of keep yourself in check. Because I know a lot of times I ask myself, what would my character do? And it's keeping my player feelings and my player knowledge of how things work mechanically in the game, and just putting myself in my character's moment. Here's what my guy sees. Here's what my guy knows. Based on all of this information, how would he react? What would he do? So I use them to keep myself in check of the mindset and stay in the world, which is a lot of fun. Any closing thoughts for you on these intangibles there, Mr. Knighted Bishop?
Yeah, just have fun with them. Let them really soak in for your character. Take them as a way of developing your character. And one thing that, and this is Bishop showing his boomer, this is one section that I miss of playing paper D&D.
Writing it out.
Yeah, well, is writing it out, and then that moment when you have to go back to your character sheet and erase one of your personality traits, flaws, or ideals or bonds, and replace it with a new one. And so then there's just this mark on your character sheet that shows character development. Because there's always some kind of like rip or tear or smudge, or there's still some like impression left.
Yeah.
So it's cool that you get.
You can't get rid of the old paper erase marks. They're always going to be there.
Yeah. So there's a bit of, okay, I can actually see my character developing. It's interesting.
There was a fun bit of roleplay in the Monday night campaign I had where my character started off as a rogue, and he obviously made his food. He got food by stealing people, pickpocketing. And then at a certain point, he was able to realize that I don't have to do this anymore. I can afford food and shelter based off my talents with the blade. In a good way, not as being the usual edgy rogue assassin. He was actually doing good things.
Rogues are edgy? What?
No. I made the edge of edge. I'm a road hexblade.
That's not edgy.
Not at all. So I think we're ready to move on to the next subject. Bishop, if you want to lead into that one, Mr. Cast the spells.
Yeah, I guess we will lead into the spells and the book of spells. So when it comes to being a caster, you will inevitably come across the most painstaking and arduous and difficult and mind-numbingly fun part of playing a caster, which is choosing your spells, your abilities, and actions. So, playing old school pen and paper D&D, not newfangled technology D&D, you would have to search through the back of the book and get real used to the appendix to find the spell, and then you would go and search it, and then you'd be like, okay, I can use this spell. All right, now I got to go write everything down, and you never had enough space to actually write the spell down, so you just write the name down and then look it up during the game. But what's great about spells is that as a caster, when building your caster, you will see that table that tells you you have so many cantrips, first level, second level, third, all the way up to ninth level spells that you are able to cast and use. Now, oh, look at you being all slick with it.
I'm just throwing on one spell in every slot real quick while you are doing your thing so they can see on the screen how it looks when you have that arcane pool.
Yep. So, you know what? If you'd like, I can send you Winston if you would like, and you can actually pull him up and we can choose his spells together.
That would be great.
I will throw him into a shared campaign.
So, what we're going to be talking about while we're both doing these behind the scenes work is we're not going to go through the entire spell book, obviously, and pick spells. We're going to very quickly pick one spell of each tier of magic or level of magic or just slots as well, as you can hear them called. And we're going to kind of go through how a caster has their arcane resource pool and how to understand what things like upcasting means, what things like using a spell slot, or how a cantrip works.
Let me see here. I'm
Going?
trying to see where's one that you have. Here we go.
Put him in Relden.
Yeah, I could put him in Relden, huh? That's fine. I didn't think about that. I was like, I could throw it in there, and then I can't throw it in there because that would not be a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
How do I just throw him in there? I can't. Can I just assign him?
Well, we can just pick the spells on here.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll just pick the spells on there.
Right,
sorry, guys. I tried.
No, it's good.
All right, so let's go ahead and check out our spells. So, as always, as a caster, you will always have cantrips. At a lower level, these are going to be your bread and butter, as you will never run out of cantrip spells.
You will not. They are considered level 0 spells, but just they are formally called cantrips. And what I mean by formally is that is the term both in-game and talking through roleplay with other non-player characters, adventurers. They are known as cantrips. These are spells that have no resource pool. It is an infinite amount of magic you can pull from to cast these spells. The reason for this is because they're known as all or nothing spells for the most part. Those cantrips that require a saving throw, if they succeed 99% of the time, it's going to do no damage. Or you have a 2-hit. Those are handy because you can at least have a chance to do damage if you can roll well enough. I've picked Firebolt. It's a very easy to understand bread and butter spell, and we're just going to pick one for each spot level and go through how the slots work and how your arcane resource pool works. So for first level, what would you like to go with? I've already kind of grabbed Armor of Agathis.
Oh, okay.
I know a lot of these spells will be limited to your class. Armor of Agathis, I actually believe, is not a wizard spell, so
no.
We will just take that out of there.
I'm going to my spells, and so my first level spells. I have a pretty good amount of spells here, but this is where you can go through 3 trains of thought, as I say, for spells. You can go thematic. You can go actual versatility, or you can just go powerhouse. You can do a mixture of all 3, but those are your 3 basic ways of choosing your spells. I like to go a little bit. I like to go mostly thematic, with a little bit of versatility. I generally find that as long as I go thematic with that little bit of versatility, I also get that power mixed in a little bit. So for my guy, it looks like I have an option of preparing up to 7 spells. So I'm only going to choose one right now. And for me,
what is your first level spell?
There's one that I always love, and that is Chromatic Orb.
That's a good one.
And so for Chromatic Orb, when you look at the spells, you have to look at what's involved with the spell. So the first thing that you're going to notice when you look at a spell is you're going to notice what level it is and what the spell school is.
That evocation?
It is an evocation. It is a first level evocation. Good job on knowing that.
Just wanted to check.
Now, if you're looking at the sheet that we have on screen, it is going to be a little bit different than what you would see on paper, but that's okay.
Yep.
Actually, go ahead and break that back open for us.
Sure.
All right. So, the first thing that you're going to notice is your casting time. So for Chromatic Orb, the casting time for Chromatic Orb is 1 action. So what that means is during your turn, you have your action, bonus action, and then you can take your reaction on your turn, or you can take it later on. But you have your bonus action and your action. So for this spell, it will take your entire action to cast the spell. The next thing that you will see is your range, which for this is 90 feet. When you see range, it will also generally say area if there is a area portion for it as well. So our range is 90 feet.
What are our target is?
So target only matters when you are targeting self. At least that's how I've always used it when I write it out.
I know it's all 3, isn't it?
For Chromatic Orb, it is all 3. So if you're looking on the sheet, you will see 3 boxes that say V, S, and M. I know that's very small. And you'll notice that there's a line underneath it that says Ruby Dust. That is not what this spell is. That's just giving you an idea of what needs to be put into there.
I've got it.
So what? Yep. So diamond worth at least 50 GP.
Is it? Oh, I thought it was 100.
Nope, it's 50.
I put 100.
So what this means is V, S, and M. So V is vocal, S is somatic, and M is material. That is why after the M, there's the brackets with the material component. So vocal, kind of obvious. That means you have to speak or say something. You have to cast the spell. Semantic means that you have to have some kind of hand movement, or you have to have some kind of
gesture
that conjures the magic. Then you have your material. You have your items that are used. All right. On the sheet that you are seeing, you will see where it says concentration. That will be on here if the spell is a concentration. This is not. The duration, though, is how long it takes you to cast the spell. For this, it is an instantaneous spell.
Yep.
All right. Now, this is where the spell and the web pages that you are seeing are going to differ a little bit, because this is asking you to fill in for being able to cast the spell on the web page. So it won't ask you about your spellcasting ability or anything like that when you're writing it down. You should know these things as whatever your spellcasting ability is. That is what you will use when casting it. This will affect your spell attack modifier, your DC. Mm-hmm. So for us, because we are a wizard, we are intelligence based, so that would be ours. Next, you would have your description, or what does the spell do? So for Chromatic Orb, you hurl a 4-inch diameter sphere of energy at a creature that you can see within range. So within that 90-foot range, you choose acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, or thunder for the type of orb you create. So you choose a type of damage, and then you make a ranged spell attack against the target. If the attack hits, the creature takes 3d8 damage of the type you choose.
was our 4 damage types again?
Acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, and thunder. You get 5, or you get 6. I'm sorry.
Acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison,
and thunder.
There we go.
No.
I'm just going to give a quick description on the screen so they can have something to refer to.
For the type of orb, I'm reading it out for you.
Oh. For the type of orb.
Yep, for the type of orb. Oh, you can just copy and paste.
I could have just been lazy, yeah.
Yeah, just be lazy and finish pasting that part in there.
I'm gonna be lazy, I am.
There we go. Now, even on this sheet, and this is something that you will want to have written down, is not every spell does this, but most do, or I won't even say most because there's a good mix of them. This spell has at a higher level when you cast the spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher. So again, this is a 1st level spell. So at 1st level, you can use a 1st level spell slot, or excuse me, not at your 1st level, but at your 1st spell level. You can use this first level spell slot to cast this spell. Now, when you use a 2nd level spell slot, a much more potent level of magic, the damage is increased by 1d8 for each spell slot above 1st. So, for a 2nd level spell slot used with this spell, you would then be doing 4d8 damage. A 3rd would be 5, a 4th would be 6, so on and so forth. So that is what your spell will look like when you have it written down. That is just one spell.
All right. So for 2nd level, what do you want to go with?
So for my 2nd level, just that way we get something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to take Tasha's Mind Whip.
All right.
We're still going to do a little bit of damage, but I figure we'll do something a little bit different. Well, you know what? We'll do a completely different spell. Go ahead and get rid of Tasha's Mind Whip. I'm going to look for something that gives you just a little bit different information here. I know. But it's okay. You can get over it. All right, let me see here. Yeah, here we go. This will work perfect. So we're gonna go with a wizard's bread and butter style spell. We're gonna go with Flaming Sphere.
All right, I'm dig it. I'm in it.
Loud though. All right, so the Flaming Sphere. It is a 2nd level spell. And do you know what school this is?
It's actually Conjuration. I thought it was going to be Evocation, but it's Conjuration.
Oh, it is Conjuration. Oh, I thought you were just naming them off the top of the head. I was really proud of you.
I didn't know.
Now, you may be asking, why does it matter what spell school it's from? For a wizard, it can matter.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember back to when we were talking about the classes, wizards have schools of magic. Well, just as there are different schools, and it even says it here, what school of magic it is, well, guess what? You're a wizard. He goes ahead and specializes in a school of magic. So if you are a conjuration wizard, guess what? You're going to want to use conjuration spells. So for Flaming Sphere, it is a concentration spell, which means that you have to continuously hold on to the magic for it. It does cast in time of 1 action. So again, it takes your full action to cast it. It has a range of 60 foot by 5 foot. Now, what that means is that You can shoot it out in a 60-foot range, but the sphere itself takes up a 5-foot area. It does have components, which are vocal, semantic, and material. Those materials are a bit of tallow, a pinch of brimstone, and a dusting of powdered iron. Now, there's a reason why I wanted to use this spell, and this is part of why I wanted to use this spell. If you notice, for 97% of spells, if the spell gives material components, as long as you have a materials pouch or a components pouch, then you will not be burning those materials unless it has a gold value. Then that item is consumed.
Yep. It'll either have a gold value or it will state along with that this item is consumed by the spell. Some items just need a gold value. It's not actually consumed, which is super handy. But a lot of your high tier spells will begin to require those expensive materials to be cast.
Or your high value spells. Revivify is not a high level spell, but it is a very, very expensive one.
Yes.
But it's worth it. You bring somebody back from the dead.
For your 3rd level spell.
Sir, I'm only 2nd level. Oh, I'm only 3rd level. I don't get 3rd level spells.
We're gonna put you at as high.
I'm going up to 20th.
You need to be to get all the spells, so we can go over all these slots.
So let me go ahead, and I've gone to 20th level.
So grab me a 3rd level spell that you would like from your wizard's list.
Yep, 3rd level spells. All right, here we go. Let me see. What haven't we done yet? Here we go. We are going to do... Yeah, here we go. All right, so we're going to do 3rd level Blink.
Okay.
So Blink is a 3rd level transmutation spell, so we're going into a different spell class.
I'll get everything filled in. You can just keep rolling.
Okay. Your casting time is 1 action. The range / area is on yourself. So this is a spell that you can only cast on yourself. The components are only vocal and semantic, so there's no material cost for this. The duration is 1 minute, so it lasts for 1 minute. Now, time that is stated on a spell, that is real fake in-game time.
Yes.
What that means is it is 1 minute of in-game time, not 1 minute of real-world time. A full round of action is 6 seconds. So there are 10 rounds of combat per minute. So this spell lasts for a little while.
It's for a hot minute.
So for this spell, you roll a d20, and at the end of each of your turns for the duration of the spell, on a roll of 11 or higher, you vanish from your current plane of existence and appear in the ethereal plane. The spell fails, and the casting is wasted if you are already on that plane. It's a good rule to know. At the start of your next turn, when the spell ends, if you are on the ethereal plane, you return to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within 10 feet of the space you vanished from. If no unoccupied space is available within that range, you appear in the nearest unoccupied space, chosen at random if more than one space is equally near. You can dismiss the spell as an action, so it takes you, again, a full action to stop the spell. While on the ethereal plane, you can see and hear the plane you originated from, which is cast in shades of gray, and you can't see anything there more than 60 feet away. You can only affect and be affected by other creatures on the ethereal plane. Creatures that aren't there can't perceive you or interact with you unless they have the ability to do so. So this is the first non-damage spell that we're taking.
Yep.
So this is versatility. This will get me away from combat or potentially put me in hazard's way. So we have Blink.
All right. What is your 4th level choice?
My 4th level choice. What do we want to take for 4th level? You know what? Actually, I'm actually really upset with myself.
What's that?
Because we didn't take the major wizard spell.
That's okay.
We'll see if anybody catches it.
Oh, someone has.
All right, good. I was about to say. We're going to take Everard's Black Tentacles as our 4th level spell. We're going to go back to Conjuration.
All right.
So, for Everard's Black Tentacles, this is a concentration spell. It is a conjuration. We have a casting time of 1 action. The range is 90 feet in a 20-foot square. So, these are important things to know. If you remember back to grade school, what a square is, great. The components for this are vocal, semantic, and material. This uses a piece of tentacle from a giant octopus or a giant squid. No regular sizes. Concentration is the duration, and it's up to 1 minute. So you do have to maintain concentration on this. Spell is different from the other ones that we've done, as this is an attack save spell. And we'll get to that when we're reading the description of the spell. So this is a dex. So, squirming ebony tentacles fill up a 20-foot square on the ground that you can see within range. So within 90 feet, a 20-foot square on the ground is filled with ebony tentacles. For the duration, these tentacles turn the ground in the area into difficult terrain. When a creature enters that affected area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, the creature must succeed a dexterity saving throw. So that's where that attack save came in.
Yep.
So they have to make that dexterity saving throw or take 3d6 bludgeoning damage and be restrained by the tentacles until the spell ends. A creature that starts its turn in the area and is already restrained by the tentacle takes 3d6 bludgeoning damage. So this can be a very big hitter. A creature restrained by the tentacles can use its action to make a strength or dex check. Its choice against your spell save DC. On a success, it frees itself.
Good spell. Good choice.
It is a very good spell. I very much enjoy that one. All right. So 5th level.
I'm probably going to wrestle your hand on this one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I really, really have and love Modify Memory.
God. Let's do it. Modify Memory.
Such a good spell.
It is. All right. So for Modify Memory, this is a 5th level concentration spell once again, and it is enchantment. So it is a casting time of 1 action. You have a range of 30 foot, so it's a shorter range than some of the spells we've taken. The components are both vocal and semantic. It is a concentration spell, as we already stated, and this is up to 1 minute. Again, it is an attack save spell, and this one's wisdom. The spell reads: you attempt to reshape another creature's memories. One creature that you can see must make a wisdom saving throw. If you are fighting the creature, it has advantage on the saving throw. On a failed save, the target becomes charmed by you for the duration. The charmed target is incapacitated and unaware of its surroundings, though it can still hear you. If it takes any damage or is targeted by another spell, this spell ends, and none of the target's memories are modified. While this charm lasts, you can affect the target's memory of an event that it experienced within the last 24 hours, and that lasted no more than 10 minutes. You can permanently eliminate all memory of an event, allow the target to recall the event with perfect clarity and exacting detail, change its memory of the details of the event, or create a memory of some other event. You must speak to the target to describe how its memories are affected, and it must be able to understand your language for the modified memories to take root. Its mind fills in any gaps in the details of your description. The spell ends before you have finished describing the modified memories. The creature's memory isn't altered. Otherwise, the modified memories take hold when the spell ends. A modified memory doesn't necessarily affect how a creature behaves, particularly if the memory contradicts the creature's natural inclinations, alignments, or beliefs. An illogical modified memory, such as implanting a memory of how great the creature enjoyed dousing itself in acid, is dismissed. Perhaps as a bad dream, the GM might deem a modified memory too nonsensical to affect a creature in a significant manner. That is a very, very, very important line right there. Huge. I want everybody to understand that last line. The GM might deem a modified memory too nonsensical to affect a creature in a significant manner. A remove curse or greater restoration spell cast on the target restores the creature's true memory. At higher levels, if you cast the spell using a spell slot of 6th level or higher, you can alter the target's memories of an event that took place up to 7 days ago for 6th, 30 days ago for 7th, 1 year for 8th, or any time in the creature's past at 9th level.
Oof.
That is a huge spell.
Oof. Big oof. That is a lot to do, and it is definitely a campaign ending, campaign changing, campaign detriment, or huge assist, depending upon how it is worded and how it is implemented to whoever you are trying to modify the memory of. It is an incredibly powerful, fun tool to use responsibly.
Nope.
Nope. Why would I do that?
Nope.
Alrighty then. 6th level spell.
I know exactly what spell I want to use.
Okay. Go ahead.
I really don't think there's any other spell that can be used for this. We're gonna do Chain Lightning.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Chain Lightning is really good.
It's just too good. So Chain Lightning is a 6th level evocation spell. The casting time is 1 action, has a range of 150 feet, so this is the longest spell we've been able to cast at.
Mm-hmm.
The components are vocal, semantic, and material. Takes a bit of fur, a piece of amber, glass, or a crystal rod, and 3 silver pins. Not 4, not 2, but 3. If you've made it to 5, that is too many. And 2 is not enough unless you are moving on to 3, for 3 is the number of pins. The duration is instantaneous. It is, again, an attack save spell, so this is a dex-based one. And it reads, you create a bolt of lightning that arcs towards a target of your choice that you can see within range. So within that 150 feet, 3 bolts then leap from that target to as many as 3 other targets, each of which must be within 30 feet of the first target. A target can be a creature or an object and can be targeted only by one of the bolts. The target must make a dexterity saving throw. The target takes 10d8 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. At higher levels, you can cast the spell using a spell slot of 7th level or higher. 1 additional bolt leaps from the first target to another target for each spell slot level above 6th. Honestly, Chain Lightning is just dirty. There's no other way to state the spell.
It's dirty. It is absolutely disgusting. It is so much fun. It's great to use.
Your favorite character was not a lizard wizard, but a greedy bard. I wrote something. There you go.
You may your rolls always be high. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. So Chain Lightning is our 6th level spell, and it will always be number 6.
Dirty. And if you are playing a bard and you get Chain Lightning through your various avenues you can get it, you must cast this through a guitar so you can have power metal.
No. Just no. All right, here's where we get a little dicey.
Gets a little nasty, a little quick.
Because 7th level has 2 of my favorite spells.
2? Oh no. Let me see if I can guess them. And we'll see if I can guess them.
I mean, you should know what the first one is.
Hang on, it's loading.
All right.
Oh. Ooh, this is gonna be a tough choice. Ooh. You said I should know what it is?
Yeah, they're both pretty. They're both on brand Bishop.
My brain's going 1,000 different ways. What is it?
So, in order, so my favorite 7th level spell is Prismatic Spray.
Okay.
And then the other one is definitely Finger of Death.
Yeah.
Just because it's the most metal sounding spell ever. But we're gonna go with Prismatic Spray because I am a fan of the prismatic spells. I always will be.
There is so much to this spell.
Yeah, Prismatic Spray, especially. And you ever just want your table?
Yep. I think you're back.
Am I back?
I think you're back. I think you're back.
I'm back. All right. If you're ever a DM and you ever want your players to absolutely hate you, cast Prismatic Spray, and then you tell them, you know what? Roll me a d8 each of you.
Oh my god.
So, Prismatic Spray. It's a 7th level evocation spell. It is a casting time of 1 action. The range is self and then a 60-foot cone. So you're casting it from you 60 feet in a cone in front of you. Because again, it is a spray. The components are vocal and semantic. The duration is instantaneous. It is an attack save DC, so this is Dex. Now here goes the fun part. 8 multicolored rays of light flash from your hand. Each ray is a different color and has a different power and purpose. Each creature in a 60-foot cone must make a dexterity saving throw. For each target, roll a d8 to determine which color ray affects it. So, if they roll a red, the target takes 10d6 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Orange, the target takes 10d6 acid damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Yellow, the target takes 10d6 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Green, the target takes 10d6 poison damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Blue, the target takes 10d6 cold damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one.
Here's where it gets fun, folks.
This is definitely where it gets fun.
You may take it?
No,
Okay.
So I'm going to. So, all right, we'll go with Indigo.
Okay.
Indigo. On a failed save, the target is restrained. It must then make a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. If it successfully saves 3 times, the spell ends. If it fails its save 3 times, it's permanently turned to stone and is subject to the petrified condition. The successes and failures do not need to be consecutive. Keep track of both until the target collects 3 of a kind. So, Indigo tells you, suck it.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
So, we're going to skip Violet for a moment because that one's my favorite.
The killer part here is that they don't have to be consecutive.
Yeah, they don't have to be consecutive. That's what makes it so much fun.
In that time span.
Whew. The best part is if you use luck on it. So we're gonna skip Violet for a moment and go to Special because Violet is my personal favorite.
Okay.
Special. The target is struck by 2 rays. Roll twice more, re-rolling any 8s. So if you roll an 8, you get fucked real hard.
Someone's getting the big oof.
They're getting the real big oof.
The big oof.
All right, so let's go to Violet. Violet, on a failed save, the target is blinded. It must make a wisdom saving throw at the start of your next turn. A successful save ends the blindness. Now, here's where the fun part gets. If it fails that save, the creature is teleported to another plane of existence of the GM's choosing and is no longer blinded. Typically, a creature that is on a plane that isn't its home plane is banished home, while other creatures are usually cast into the astral or ethereal planes. Yeah, this is where your DM tells you, get wrecked, noob. and says bye-bye.
Essentially, it's just, oh man, that one. Ooh,
Violet's great, man. That
Violet is
starts a whole
great,
new
and
campaign.
it really is. This is definitely the tier of Magic. Like I said, even at just 5th level modified memory, these 5th tier spells and higher are the hardcore turning point to campaign ending, campaign hard shifting in good or bad directions spells. These are your manipulating fabric of reality spells. But we still had 2 more tiers to get into, folks, so keep your seatbelts buckled and stay at your desk. So, Bishop,
I can't wait.
I'm telling you now, you don't get to choose your 9th level spell. I'm choosing it.
No, I know what my 9th level spell is. There's only one option.
You better say what I want you to say, or I'm going to retcon it out of your mouth and just tell you what you're going to say.
Oh, because there's 2.
But 8th level. What is your 8th level choice?
8th level choice. God, this one's hard because there's 2 here that I really like too.
If you don't hurry, I'm going to make you roll a dice for it.
No, I got it.
What's it going to be?
So for 8th level, we are going to go with what I think is one of the best spells there is around. And we're going to go with Clone.
Right.
So for Clone is an 8th level necromancy spell. It takes an hour to cast, so this is an in-game hour time.
Yep.
So basically a day. The range is touch. It is romantic and material. Here are the materials that you need: a diamond worth at least 1,000 gold, and
so
at least 1 cubic inch of flesh of a creature that is to be cloned, which the spell consumes, and a vessel worth at least 2,000 gold that has a sealable lid and is large enough to hold the creature being cloned, such as a huge urn, coffin, mud-filled cyst in the ground, or a crystal container filled with salt water. There are no better descriptions than clone. The duration is instantaneous, and this is the wording for the spell. The spell grows an inner duplicate of a living creature as a safeguard against death. This clone forms inside the vessel used in the spell's casting and grows to full size and maturity after 120 days. You can also choose to have the clone be a younger version of the same creature. It remains inert and endures indefinitely as long as its vessel remains undisturbed. At any time after the clone matures, if the original creature dies, its soul transfers to the clone, provided that the soul is free and willing to return. The clone is physically identical to the original and has the same personality, memories, and abilities, but none of the original's equipment. The original creature's physical remains, if they still exist, become inert and cannot thereafter be restored to life, since the creature's soul is elsewhere. So yeah, this is big FU magic right here.
It is. This is a great tool to use as a DM, to where maybe you need an insurance policy for one of your bad guys that you want to just test the party's power and see how they do against your bad guy. Well, they do really good, and a dice roll super well in their favor and not so well in your favor, and your evil guy for the campaign dies. Well, as long as they don't know he was necessarily the evil guy, you could just pop up again, have one of these clone spells waiting in preparation. There you go. Also great for players if they know they want to go in and handle something where they know they'll die. A great use of this would be to give it to a wizard who has to go maybe assassinate an evil king.
Or you cast it on your cleric or your druids. That way they can just cast Mass Revivify later on when the party loses.
Very true.
Yeah, clone, amazing spell. It is definitely just a big finger to whoever is on the other side of it.
Yep.
All right, 9th level. So which one are we going to go with?
Wish or wish?
That's what I was gonna say. Are we gonna go with the proper wish or are we gonna go with gate wish? Because they're basically the same thing. But we will go with the Big Daddy spell of them all. So wish, 9th level conjuration. Now let me say this before we go any further. Let me put a big fucking asterisk on wish.
Go ahead.
As a player, as a DM, there is a multitude of ways of dealing with wish.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as easy as it is as a DM to want to monkey paw the shit out of wish, because you will want to monkey paw the shit out of wish. Sometimes allowing the wish to actually work is just worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, this is a family-friendly show. But so let me go ahead and get into wish. But as I said, wish is something that if you're playing with a player who has the potential to take wish, speak with them early on and tell them what your ideals and thoughts are on wish.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. You don't want, especially once you get to that level, I think it's this 17th-ish level for most classes where they can begin to get this.
Yeah.
At that 17th level up, you have prepared DMs. I want you to be aware of who can pick up this spell and just ask them, hey, are you thinking about taking wish? If they say yes, then that is where you need to essentially have like a session 0 for leveling up to level 17 and just lay it out for your players. Here is how I play wish. Here is the realm of possibilities that can happen when you cast wish. Some DMs are the monkey paw type, and they will use that as a tool against the wording. Some will just let it happen word for word, and they will treat it as a almost a lawyer would read a wish to the exact wording of it. And some will have the gracious ability to understand the meaning of the words spoken and the purpose of the wish. It's not necessarily they understand that what's spoken may not be what they're trying to convey, or they won't purposely lock them into just that, and then your 9th level spell could potentially be gone. And we'll talk about that when we get done describing wish. Now, I only put a short description on here because I felt like shorter would be better for wish.
Yeah. The last thing that I will say again, and I'm about to read the spell, is everything that we've been saying about having this conversation, this is not to deter you from casting wish or taking wish. When I've had a player cast wish or want to take wish and cast it, I have told them, when you go to cast wish, when you say, I am casting wish, that will end the session right there. And then you will have from that moment until next session to write out your wish spell. Because I want your wish spell to be as you want it. Yeah. So I will read it word for word, and that is what your wish will be. It was not up to interpretation. So I will help you with it. I will help make sure that we write it out exactly how you want it. But when you're casting this spell, this is the highest form of magic that can be cast. I want it to be grandiose in my campaign. So when you cast it, I'm going to have you read your wish as though it is a wish. So here we go. Wish is the mightiest spell a mortal creature can cast. By simply speaking aloud, you can alter the very foundations of reality in accordance with your desires. The basic use of this spell is to duplicate any other spell of 8th level or lower. You do not need to meet any requirements in that spell, including costly components. The spell simply takes effect. That is wish option 1.
And that is the only thing that I put on the screen.
And if you notice, it says any other spell of 8th level or lower.
You are not restricted to your character's casting abilities. So long as you have seen or heard of in game of this spell being cast, your character can essentially say, I want to cast this, or I've seen this cast.
Yep. Alternatively, you can create one of the following effects of your choice. You create an object of up to 25,000 gold in value that isn't a magic item. The object can be no more than 300 feet in any dimension, and it appears in an unoccupied space you can see on the ground. So you can become extremely wealthy. So that is Wealth Wish. Option 3. You allow up to 20 creatures that you can see regain all hit points, and you end all effects on them described in the Greater Restoration spell. This is Heal Wish. Number 4, you grant up to 10 creatures that you can see resistance to a damage type of your choice. This is the Pain Wish. I've seen one use of that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen people use it very much, but I've seen one use where they're like,
pretty
they
handy.
just don't take fire damage because you're fighting a fire dragon. They're just like, yeah, no.
Resistance, not immunity.
Or, yeah, but resistance. So you take half. But, I mean, half against an ancient fire dragon is still half.
Especially if you make the save.
So, you grant up to 10 creatures you can see immunity to a single spell or other magical effect for 8 hours. For instance, you can make yourself and all companions immune to a Lich's life drain attack. This is big. If you're going up against something big and you know it's going to be big and you know it has a very big attack, you can make it so that way you don't have to worry about that attack for a little bit. All right, here goes the other one. You undo a single recent event by forcing a reroll of any roll made within the last round, including your last turn. Reality reshapes itself to accommodate the new result. For example, a wish spell could undo an opponent's successful save, a foe's critical hit, or a friend's failed save. You can force the reroll to be made with advantage or disadvantage, and you can choose whether to use the reroll or the original. This makes you a GM. You get a round of being a DM. So that's huge. Now, it also states, you might be able to achieve something beyond the scope of the above examples. State your wish to the GM as precisely as possible. The GM has great latitude in ruling what occurs in such an instance. The greater the wish, the greater the likelihood that something goes wrong. The spell might simply fail. The effects you desire might only be partially achieved, or you might suffer some unforeseen consequence as a result of how you worded the wish. For example, wishing that a villain were dead might propel you forward in time to a period when the villain is no longer alive, effectively removing you from the game. Similarly, wishing for a legendary magical item or artifact might instantly transport you to the presence of the item's current owner. The stress of casting the spell... Alright, well, let me actually pause right here. So, even the spell itself states, be detailed, be precise. This spell tells you, as a player, your DM or GM has the potential to mess with this spell. Okay? So, here goes the last paragraph, and this is important as well. The stress of casting the spell to produce any effect other than duplicating another spell weakens you. After enduring that stress, each time you cast a spell until you finish a long rest, you take 1d10 necrotic damage per level of that spell. This damage can't be reduced or prevented in any way. In addition, your strength drops to 3 if it isn't 3 or lower already, for 2d4 days. For each of those days that you spend resting and doing nothing more than light activity, your remaining recovery time decreases by 2 days. Finally, there is a 33% chance that you are unable to cast Wish ever again if you suffer this stress.
There it is.
And that's the big one, is that there is a 1/3 of a chance that you will have a dead spell slot.
And for a wizard, that is pretty huge because you are Especially if it happens to you when you're 20th level, there's no more levels to level up at, meaning there's no more chances to change your spells.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
now that we've gone over one of each spell at their tiers, let's look at the resources a 20th level wizard has available to them. This is your spell casting pool. This is how many times you can cast spells of certain tiers. As we said earlier, cantrips have no arcane pool. You can cast them infinitely in a day. There is no restraint on how many times you can cast it.
Yep.
For a 20th level wizard, they have 4 first level spell slots. That means for one day, until you take a short rest, you can cast your first level spells 4 times. Now, you can always cast a spell of a certain level using a spell slot of a higher level. There isn't always a benefit to this. Make sure you look out for that key wording at higher levels, but you can always cast a spell slot with a higher slot. At second level, they have 3 in that arcane pool. For their third level, 3. Fourth, 3. Fifth, 3. Sixth, 2. Seventh, 2. Eighth, 1. And ninth 1. Meaning for your day, that is all the arcane pool your character has to use, and then they must sleep or rest for those 8 hours. Sleep is 90% of the time involved with a long rest. Unless you are of certain races, then you do have an ability, what's called trance. I'm not going to get into that here. We've covered that with races before, so feel free to check that video out. But a long rest has some kind of super low rest period, whether it be sleep or that ability called trance.
now you may find that you will have more spells prepared than you do spell slots.
Yep.
So don't ever think that it's 1 for 1, that you will have 1 spell for each of those slots. You
Correct.
will have other spells, and that's just to give you some versatility.
Absolutely. Depending upon your class, depends upon how you prepare your spells. Some of them have the opportunity to change them every morning. Some of them can only change them on a level up.
Level up.
But that is rundown of picking out and using spells. Is there anything else on the character sheet we need to go over?
Well, let's take a look at the character sheets real quick here. So we went over our base stats, our proficiencies, our speed, hit points, initiative, armor, our skills, our senses and saving throws. We went over our proficiencies in languages, went over our actions, our spells, what's in our inventory, went over our features and traits. We went over our background and our personality and ideals, bonds, and flaws.
Background. We didn't actually go over true background. Choosing a background.
We went over it. We went over it in very minute, quick detail, but yes.
True. We will go on a little further real quick. A background, if you look into the player's handbook, you can find there are various backgrounds that give you certain extra proficiencies, extra languages, or just extra intangibles. I know we'll pick one very quickly. We'll go with the acolyte background, to where if you choose this, you will always have somewhere to sleep so long as you can find a temple of your deity in a city. And even then, if it's not of your deity, if it aligns with the deity you worship, they'll probably still give you somewhere to stay. But that is for you. It's not include your entire party. Unless you're really good on the persuasion rolls, then you could probably squeeze one out. But that is what a true definition background is something to assist in carving out how your character acts and what kind of almost hidden buffs they can get for their roleplay tactics. What?
Join our Discord to see the beautiful, beautiful things that our lovely group of entities makes.
I can only imagine.
The beater of defense +3 is there now.
Of course it is. Anyways, that's what we have for all of the character sheets.
Oh man.
So
do you know what that means?
I think I do know what that means. I was just checking my syllabus real quick to make sure I knew what it meant. I believe I do. I just wanted to check.
I know what it means.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I've been talking a lot this episode.
And?
I'm out of something to drink. My throat's parched.
Oh my god.
So what's going on, Brandon?
Well, what's going to happen now is that we have gone over a lot of things. We have gone over classes, races, we've gone over the character sheet, we've gone over dice, saving throws, skills, how to fill out the character sheet, how to apply the things you roll. So I think next we need to have our proper exam. So for those of you partaking in this live class, and I will be looking at the roster and taking note of everybody here. Your exam is to build a character and place it into the Discord to be reviewed by the instructors. You will be graded, and it will be extremely interesting. We will go over them in a fun off-stream Discord learning lesson. And outside of that, check my calendar real quick because I'm just as organized as a real teacher. I don't just play one on TV.
Yeah, but you're so good at it.
So, this wrapping it up, and to give ourselves some time to look over those, the next UniversiD&D will see a very fun, almost behind-the-scenes session. We are going to be entering the Teacher's Lounge, and you will be sitting down with myself, Mr. Knighted Bishop, and from a very loving stream that we enjoy very much, we will be sitting down with the Dungeon Master of Twisted Perceptions, Mr. Ford.
Yeah.
I will be bringing him here to sit down with us and just have some fun. And we are going to essentially discuss a lot of things that are probably on the cusp of being asked, as far as that line between player mentality, DM mentality, how a DM builds certain things or uses the characters brought to us. And this will be a great place to where we will stats, levels, etc. We'll put that out in the Discord. So be on the lookout for that. Or I'm gonna cheat off Yeet. We know if you cheat or not. We know.
Yeah, no cheating off of Yeet. All right, Yeet is excluded. The Yeetums to Deletums is excluded from this exam.
He will be.
He will be a TA for this exam. Actually,
we might bring him in, and we might maybe with Teacher's Lounge, maybe we'll go over some of the character sheets and just, you know what? That's a great idea.
It's a good idea. You know what? Thank you, chat, for doing that.
Thank you, chat. We're going to take all these character sheets you're going to submit to us, and we're going to see what kind of world we would build for this party. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to go over just really shooting the breeze for the most part, but really fielding a lot of questions from chat. We're going to have a very open session. It will be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to having Mr. Ford here. Always happy to be sitting alongside Knighted Bishop, and I'm looking forward to having all these character sheets lovely submitted on time with your name in the top right-hand corner.
Oh, you know what? Before we go, let us not be bad DMs.
Yes.
For your stat blocks.
Correct.
What would you like to have them use?
You know, I've grown rather accustomed to always handing out stats for long-term campaigns or even for one-shots. I'll kind of tailor those stats to the purpose of the environment of the table. For this, so we can have a record that no one cheated, you will need to have a screenshot of the stats you rolled at 2D. What is yours? 2d6 plus 6?
Yep. So if you go into the Discord,
so go with that.
If you are in the Discord, which is Player Hater Gaming Discord, so Discord/Player Hater Gaming, you can go and under the gaming section, you will see a channel called Dice Rolling. In there, you will be able to roll dice, and there is a formula that is there that you can see that other people have rolled of 6 hashtag or £, however you want to decide to call it. I'm not going to use its actual name. 2d6 plus 6. It will then give you your list. All right. And that will tell you exactly what your stats are.
Okay. So that's what we're looking forward to. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to.
Oh, I'm super stoked.
Have a chat-focused session along with letting players see behind the DM screen for a moment. But we are going to wrap it up. Thank you all so very much for being here. Once again, my name is Brandon Ross with Player Hater Gaming. I am joined happily and proudly by Mr. Knighted Bishop. And we just hope to see all of you in our Discord. We can't wait to see what characters you come up with. And I cannot wait to sit down in the teacher's lounge with a couple of fun people and go over a lot of behind the scene questions. So until next week, be safe, have fun, and Mr. Bishop, if you would, dismiss the class.
Everybody, please put your pens, pencils, wands, ink quills, and dice down as class is dismissed. Have a good night, folks.